The scent of blood and viscera is the first promise of a full belly. Kael holds it in his lungs, a precious warmth against the damp air. The smaller methopod lies steaming on the mossy earth, its life opened by the sharpened flint of his spear. He works fast, his hands slick and sure. The pack will be here soon. They always are. He hears them now, a dry, rustling sound in the ferns, the chittering clicks of many small mouths anticipating a meal they did not earn. A flash of scale grey, then another. The comps obey thus pack. The little jackals of this prehistoric life emerge from the undergrowth. They are a tide of tiny teeth and endless hunger, individually weak but a lethal current in number. Kael snarls, a deep and useless sound, and relinquishes his prize. There is no honor in being stripped to the bone by 100 mouths, the size of his thumb. He retreats, backing away toward the sheer rock face that marks the valley's edge. He knows these hunting grounds. The raptors will not follow him up the stone he climbs, his fingers and toes finding purchase in the weathered cracks, his breath coming in ragged bursts of frustration. The clan will eat thin tonight. Again, halfway up the cliff, a dark opening beckons, a shallow cave he has noted before but never explored. Shelter from the sudden rain that now begins to fall is a better prize than nothing. He pulls himself over the ledge, his muscles screaming in protest. The air inside is thick with the ammonia stench of reptile musk. He is not alone. A leathery rustle echoes from the ceiling. He freezes, his eyes adjusting to the gloom. High above, clinging to the rock like monstrous bats, are the shapes of pterodactyls. Their long, narrow heads turn in unison, their beady eyes fixing on him. I lo his slithering down from the darkness. They are guardians, not hunters of his kind. He makes himself small, moving slowly along the wall. Deeper into the cave, away from the entrance where they roost, the creatures watch, their carotid beaks clicking softly. But they do not attack. He is an intrusion, not a threat. The cave narrows, becoming a tight passage that forces him to his hands and knees. The air grows colder, cleaner, and then he sees it, a faint light, a glimmer from a fissure in the back wall, pulsing softly as if it breathed. He crawls closer, his curiosity overriding his fear. It is not fire. The light is cold, sharp. Inside the crack, embedded in the raw stone, are shards of solidified night, of trapped starlight. He reaches in a hand, his fingers brushing against a surface smoother and colder than any river stone. He works a piece free. It fits in his palm, a jagged, six-sided icicle that does not melt, catching the dim light and shattering it into 1,000 tiny rainbows. It has no edge. It cannot be eaten. By the logic of his world, it is useless, a piece of nothing. If you have ever felt the pull of something beautiful for its own sake, then you know the spark that was lit in Kael. Follow this light with us, and see the long shadows it casts. He stares at it, this impossible object his mind, built for the practical application of ancient tools and the mapping of hunting trails, struggling to categorize it. It is just beautiful, and it is his. He carefully places the crystal into his small hide pouch, a piece of primitive technology meant for carrying useful flints and dried berries. And now, a secret weight of light. He will tell no one. Not yet. He does not understand what he holds, but he understands the feeling. It gives him a sense of possession over something no other member of the clan has ever seen. This is a new kind of power, a silent hum beneath the loud demands of survival that have defined early humans. As he crawls back out of the fissure and past the still hissing pterosaurs, the lost meat is already a fading memory. His hunger remains, but it is joined by a new, more complex appetite. The useless stones acquire a use. Kael does not hoard his discovery. He reveals it, a piece at a time, with the patience of a trapper. He approaches Una, the clan's best flint napper, not with a request, but with an offering. He opens his palm and shows her a single, slender crystal. She stops her work, her calloused fingers, stained with chalk and blood, hovering over a half-finished blade. She has never seen such a thing. She takes it, turning it in the firelight, her practical mind mesmerized by the play of light within its depths. Kael says nothing. He simply waits. The next day, he finds a new spear waiting for him outside his lean-to, its flint head the sharpest, most perfectly balanced he has ever held. A silent transaction has occurred, a trade of beauty for function. This is a subtle, seismic shift in the bedrock of their hominid history. The process repeats. A small cloudy shard earns him the liver from another hunter's kill, a prize usually reserved for the strongest. A larger, clearer crystal convinces a family to move their shelter, giving Kael a spot better protected from the wind. He is not a chief, he does not command, but the stones speak for him, a silent language of desire that everyone understands. He grows rich and not in meat or hides, which are consumed or rot, but in obligation and status, he is the man who owns the light. This new power dynamic does not go unnoticed. Bor, whose strength is a legend in the clan, watches Kael's ascent with a cold, simmering fury. Bor's status is carved from the bones of his kills. Earned with the raw power in his shoulders that can drive a spear through the thickest hide, he sees Kael, a hunter of only moderate skill, gaining influence with shiny pebbles. It is an insult to the natural order. The tension finds its breaking point during the hunt for a lone Allosaurus, the great predator, a relic with a scarred hide and a missing claw, is seen feeding on a kill near the river. It is a prize that could feed the clan for a week. Bor leads the hunting party, as he always has. His plan is simple, brutal, and effective: surround, distract, and bleed the beast with a dozen spears. But the clan's focus is fractured. Half the hunters still look to Bor for commands, but the others, those who have tasted Kael's new wealth, glance toward him, seeking his silent approval. Kael, holding his magnificent new spear, sees a better way. He notes the steep, muddy riverbank and the cluster of loose boulders above. He tries to signal a new plan to panic the beast, to drive it into the river, where it will be slow and clumsy, to trigger a rockslide. He is proposing tactics over brute force, a challenge to Bor's authority in the very heart of his domain. Bor sees the gesture and snarls, taking it as a direct affront. In his rage, he refuses to cede command. He roars a challenge to the Allosaurus and charges, a foolish, prideful display meant to reassert his dominance over the men. The other hunters, caught in the confused leadership, hesitate for a fatal second. The theropod, vast and ancient, is not a creature that tolerates hesitation. It pivots. Its massive tail thing through the air. Bor is too close to committed. He tries to leap back, but the blow catches him, not with its full force, but enough to send him tumbling into the rocks. A sharp crack echoes over the predator's roar. The hunt dissolves into a chaotic retreat. They drag a wounded Bor back to the camp, his authority shattered. The clan is hungry, but a new, more dangerous hunger has been awakened: envy. Bor's broken arm becomes a festering symbol of his broken power. He sits by the fire, his limb bound in wet leaves and mud, watching Kael distribute another sliver of crystal to the woman who tends his wound. The hunter's whispers follow Kael now, not Bor. They talk of his luck, his strange new treasure. They no longer speak of Bor's strength. To a man like Bor, whose identity was forged in physical supremacy, this is a fate worse than any beast's jaws. His resentment coalesces into a desperate, reckless plan. If the stones are the source of power, then he will take the source. He watches Kael's movements, studies his path to the cliffs, his obsession a dark mirror to the dedicated work of paleontology that would one day uncover their world. He will not be a student, however he will be a thief. He waits for a day when Kael leads a gathering party in the opposite direction, then slips away from the camp, his good arm clutching a heavy spear. He follows the familiar path up into the high rocks, his movements clumsy with pain and haste. He reaches the cave entrance. The money extends him, and the leathery rustle from the ceiling above makes him pause. He sees the roosting pterodactyls, their shadowy forms alien and menacing. Kael, he knows, moved past them with quiet difference. Bor has no patience for such things. He is a creature of force. He bellows, a frustrated roar, and hurls a stone into the roost. It is a catastrophic miscalculation. The hisses of startled reptiles explode into a cacophony of enraged shrieks. The flock descends, a storm of leathery wings and snapping beaks. They are not large enough to carry him off, but they are a blizzard of stabbing, tearing fury. Bor swings his spear wildly, trying to fight his way deeper into the cave, his eyes fixed on the faint glimmer from the fissure within. The chaos is a dinner bell in this prehistoric world. The shrieks of the pterosaurs, echoing across the valley, attract a different kind of attention. A pair of velociraptors, sleek, feathered hunters on a territorial patrol, hear the frantic sounds of a struggle, opportunity, they abandon their path and race toward the cliffs, their sickle claws clicking on the stone. They arrive at the cave mouth to find Bor, bleeding from a dozen small wounds, finally beating back the last of the winged reptiles. He turns, gasping, his eyes wild with triumph as he sees the crystal vein. Only to freeze, framed in the entrance are the two raptors, their heads cocked with intelligent, predatory curiosity. They do not attack immediately, they watch him, a cornered, wounded animal. The standoff is a frozen tableau of human greed and reptilian patience. From the valley below, Kael's party, drawn back by the unnatural noise, sees the scene unfolding high above. They see Bor, trapped. They see the raptors. Kael feels a cold knot tighten in his gut. The value of his useless stones is about to be written in blood. He did not seek this, but he started it. The first flicker of altruism, of responsibility, wars with the instinct for self-preservation. To save the man who hates him would be to risk everything, not just for himself, but for those who would follow him. The clan watches from the safety of the valley floor as the raptors, with the chilling efficiency of their kind, end Bor's ambition. The crystals remain in the cave, but their nature has been irrevocably changed. They are no longer just beautiful objects, they are artifacts of desire, consecrated by blood and guarded by death. Kael, looking up at the dark maw of the cave, understands the terrible bargain he has struck. He has given his people a new concept wealth, and in doing so, has also given them a new reason to die, a new way to divide themselves. This moment becomes the clan's first lesson in economics. A brutal primer on how the abstract value of a rare commodity can outweigh the concrete value will be told around fires for generations. A cautionary tale that hardens into the first law of property. What is precious is worth defending, and what is worth defending is worth killing for. Their struggle, a microcosm of the vast tapestry of human evolution, demonstrates that the path to civilization is paved not only with clever tools and cooperative hunts, but with the dark, complex passions that both build and break us. Their fight against the titanic beasts was a matter of survival. This new, internal conflict is a matter of what kind of creature they are choosing to become. Our ascent was not a clean, heroic climb, but a desperate scramble through mud and blood, fueled as much by our ugliest instincts as our brightest innovations. And what happens when the stones run out?